Oh, you shiny, happy people. I've been looking forward to this so much. Mira, hello. What time
हेलो
is it
जी.
in the US? I don't know. Good to see you.
It is 10-11 बजे. हाँ, it's 11 बजे. मेरा घंटा नहीं
Ish-
चालू है अभी. 12 बजे तक. You'll have to be careful.
yeah. Good one. and, and like I told your mother, Ishaan, you're such a lovable scoundrel. Can't get enough of you. So nice to see you, man. And for the very first time, Tanya, we haven't met before. I'm Hrishi K. Good to see you. Yes.
Likewise.
So, Mira, I remember during Reluctant Fundamentalists calling you into my radio studio and much against your
Yes.
wishes, chatting with you and playing you all kinds of music. So, for me, it just begins and ends with music. Yeah. And I'm just so fascinated by this soundtrack. You have done it for me. The fact that
Oh,
you've got Ustad Shujat Khan playing live, you've
yeah.
got Kavita ji doing her ghazals without the music, sometimes with the music, and you've got Alex Heffes, who I think you worked with in Queen of Katwe, and you've
Correct.
also got the lovely Anushka Shankar. So let's start with the music of it. Take me through that story.
Well, I'm so happy that you feel the music as it's. I always say that music is the oxygen that draws me into making a lot of my cinema, but especially in Suitable Boy, because the way Vikram interwove the different worlds of class and character, using music, especially for Saida Bai, for Tabu's courtesan character, that and finding Kavita Seth was just. Opened my heart and my eyes because her voice, firstly, was so much like Tabu's speaking voice, but also she's a female composer. She's an extraordinary composer. So we took the poems of Ghalib and Daag and Mir that Vikram had written into the to Suitable Boy, the novel, and just asked Kavita to really compose them again and to actually create them to music. And so that was the beginning of the music. But then also, um, you know, the swing, the sort of the great brass bands of Goa that used to play in my childhood in the Calcutta nightclubs, in Sky Room and Blue Fox and Flurries, and there were these great bands, and so that was extraordinary to research the 50s bands and to actually get that to happen. So that kind of mix, that plurality, that moving back and forth is for me a great joy. And then Alex Heffes and I have worked so beautifully together with Queen of Katwe. He's a very worldly musician. He's Egyptian English, but very, very into Africa, and that's why Queen of Katwe happened. And and then knowing Anushka, both of us, of course, do. Many people do, and her sitar, even though it has the complete ancient sweetness of her father's playing, it has a real modern embodiment of what Lata is for me in our film, in Suitable Boy. So Anushka became kind of for me the voice of Lata in the music of it all. And then we went to Ashwin Srinivasan, we went to Shujat, of course. Shujat Saab, I mean, Vilayat Khan Saab, I can't actually live through a day without hearing his sound, and to know his son in Shujat, and to have the generosity that he gave us with Rag, Khamaj and Jinjoti, and whatever I loved, he
Oof.
played. It was a great joy. So I'm so
And
pleased that
and
you have
and what
responded
a
to it.
pleasure, if I may add, what a pleasure for us actors to be there, sitting there,
Sit there.
listening to
Yeah.
him play live. He actually played
Yeah,
live
you
for
don't
us,
get you don't get that experience with paying $1 million. This is the
Yeah.
legendary stuff
No,
happening there.
Yep.
this is
And
legendary.
it's wonderful. My father keeps telling me about Park Street and Usha Utub singing in Trinkas and
Uttam,
Louis
yeah,
Banks playing his
yes,
jazz and things like that. So you brought back some
absolutely,
wonderful memories that my dad
completely.
has told me stories of.
It's completely like that, and I really, it was a pleasure to evoke all that, in our nightclubs. Yeah.
So listen, Ishan, you must be pinching yourself. I mean, Majid Majidi and now Mira Nair. Now, you know that CV, people go through 50 years of their life, 50 years of their life when that happens. And it's happening really, really quickly for you. So pinching yourself literally, But on a
I must
serious
know
note,
of
I mean, it's just
this 60 or 70-year-old actor who's stealing my thunder, having worked with both of them. Who is this? Who is this other actor?
most, yeah, actually nobody, but most people wait that long for even the chance, is what I meant. See what I mean by such a lovable scoundrel? Anyway, he went through a
Um,
whole interview calling me Cake. Instead of Hrishi K, he called me Hrishi Cake
Hrishi K.
because I was being nice to him. It was his first big budget launch. I mean, Karan Johar, Mira, I'm complaining to you, Karan Johar, and the Humpty Sharma director, all these things, and I'm like, the guy's getting a big, commercial launch. Let's cut a cake for it. So I get a cake into the studio. He cuts it, and that's Meri Shamat. For the whole interview, he just calls me Cake. Rishi Cake. Why are you calling Rishi Cake? So anyway, we digress. Talk to me about Majid and then Mira. I mean, it must be so beautiful.
It's I thank my lucky stars. I guess I was at the right places at the right time, and yeah, these are really, really enriching, valuable e- experiences, lifetime experiences for me, because they really set me on a certain journey as an actor, and that translates into the person that I am becoming. At such a young age, to be able to work with such masters of their craft, such wonderful, empathetic, wholesome people, that changes you, and I've been really lucky so far to have had those experiences. Both very, very distinguished and experienced artists and filmmakers, of course, but so very different from each other. The roles in the films that I got to play in, so very different from each other, and I think I've, yeah, in a way, had the best of both worlds. So I'm very fortunate and very grateful for that. Yes.
Tanya, when the series first released in the UK, I didn't even know it was a tabloid item, but it just came on my timeline saying actress of a suitable boy sprains her ankle. And I was like, okay, fine. So I'm watching my password screened copy that some of us senior journalists
That came
get.
out?
And I'm going, is this
I
suitable boy
didn't
actor
see.
to sprained a leg? I mean, where is she limping and this and that? So you have to tell me, was that true? And then how did you and Mira eventually tackle that situation?
It is true, yes. I mean, I think it happened in the very initial, like the start of the show when we were shooting, and my body. I mean, I was never an actor, so my body just couldn't take the pressure of being on your feet all day long. So it just, I don't know, we never learned how it happened, but it just did. And one day I go for this. I mean, I'm having some pain in my ankle, and I go for this MRI and CT scan, and they tell me that you have a ligament tear, and it was so sudden, but the team adapted to it so quickly. I remember Ishaan was called in, and we moved schedules because I was supposed to be doing the tango at the time. And with the sprained ankle, you sort of can't do that. It is a little sort of difficult. But we moved things around, and you would see Lata sitting in a lot of the scenes. And we also body double. So one of the ADs on the second unit, she has a body structure that is very similar to mine. So Mira, we saw her, and she said that you could actually play Lata. Right? I mean, we could, whenever we need Lata walking or anything, you could be there in the frame, and that is how we sort of made Lata walk, and we made Lata come to life. So there is that one scene where I think Mira has talked about it
Yeah.
in a previous interview as well, where Mahira, I mean Rupa Mehra and Lata are on the opposite sides of the bed, and Lata is sitting initially and unpacking her things. And her ma tells her that that's my side. And now Lata is supposed to, like, she's flustered, she gets packs her things back, and she's supposed to go to the other side. So we transition very quickly, like where I'm packing, and I get up and get out the frame, and the body double comes around and sits. So that is how it
In
sort
the
of
same frame.
happened in the same
In the same
frame,
frame.
Same
same shot,
shot. Yeah.
yeah,
With the
the
same
same
shot.
shot.
That was the
Interesting.
Yeah.
challenge, Rishi. That
Yeah.
was the challenge. It was a big challenge for me. We all smiled through it all, but I tell you, I had never had that where the heroine, who is in every scene, cannot walk for 3 weeks because we were preserving her to be right for the 6 weeks to come after the 3 weeks. So we were very serious about not having her stand up even.
Yeah.
But she's really an extraordinary pro in a sense that even in the seated scenes, she would never like show that there was pain if there was, or it was fully alive, fully alive. And some, I mean, necessity is always the mother of invention. And sometimes we have beautiful shots just because she couldn't walk. For so sort of entering the Chatterjee mansion, you know, we originally the shot was designed to take her on the back of her through all the different rooms, but because she couldn't walk and we couldn't do that shot, we we did the her point of view, which was it came out to be an extraordinary steady cam shot that united all the staff and the characters of that house, because we had the freedom of not following one character and so on. But it was a real challenge. I learned how to use doubles within the same shot in the same example that Tanya has given. But it interesting and daunting. Now I think of you actually, Tanya, because I've hurt my shoulder and I'm such a bad patient. But this one was such a good patient. She never let us in. But I mean,
Wow.
she never thwarted, But we had to
Mira, I'm
shut
sorry.
down
Mira,
for
I'm,
a few
Mira, I'm
days.
really sorry. I had to put this in. You are shouldering great responsibility with you. Sorry.
आपने क्या बढ़िया मारा है that you must be
Your
always
shoulder.
working.
No, no, take care of your shoulder. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I know.
A personality as fantastic as that deserves the name like Hrishi K.
Badmash. So you take the great novel and you make it into movie series, whatever. I mean, I look at that remarkable filmography: Vanity Fair, The Perez Family, Namesake, Kama Sutra. Shantaram, of course, didn't work out, whatever. So I have filmmaker
Take
friends
it
who say,
off.
boss.
I never made it eventually.
Yeah, you never did, so it didn't work. So I have filmmaker friends who turn around and say, I don't want to spend too much time with the author. I'd rather just sit with a screenplay writer. How is it with you? Would you rather spend time with Jhumpa, Vikram, Mohsin Hamid, or with the Andrew Davies of this world? Where do you stand on that?
I, I mean, I definitely love the authors. I mean, I love and respect. I have a great reverence for the work I love, not for everything, but for the work I love. Um, Sometimes the authors, like Jhumpa, really, she thinks of both of us as the two mothers of the namesake. That was her attitude, is that just go with it. But I would always include her in any way I could. But it was never about chapa chapi ke, approving this or approving that. With Mohsin, it was to actually work it out with him as a co-writer, because he had written a novel that was a monologue of one person speaking, and we had to invent the character of who he was speaking to. So he was very collaborative in a screenwriting sense. With Andrew, with Vikram and Andrew, honestly, before I got involved, Andrew had done the 8 1-hour drafts, which I rather liked, definitely. But I wanted to shift the balance of them from being a Pride and Prejudice kind of who will Lata marry and who will she not marry, to also having Lata feel like the embodiment of our new India, of the free India that was preparing for its first national election. And that's so much in the book, of the political moment of that idealism of Nehru, that socialism of Nehru, the creation of a new voice for our own country. So for me, I wanted to bring that political and the personal voyage of Lata, of course, with all the other characters of Man and Saida and that whole world that I've loved so much. But it had to be a real interwoven tapestry of balance, actually. So, in this sense, I started architecting that new 6 hour draft with Andrew, but very much with Vikram. Speaking and living sometimes I went and saw him for 3 4 days in England, just to make sure that I was getting the Hindu Muslim cadence correctly, to be in this moment of Indian time, where it is so easy to be obliterated, where it's so easy to misrepresent or to be misunderstood. But I really wanted to get the depth of the what Amir Bashi's character, basically the Nawab of Behtar, what he says, that was not there in the earlier drafts. But it is there in the book. It's like when he looks to Mahesh Kapoor to represent him in his constituency, it says, because he says, people like you know, who know us Muslims as our friends and experience, and people like you will understand the heartland of this India. And it is such a it is such a strange and different time now, right? So I wanted to use the Suitable Boy to really hold a mirror to the extraordinary syncretic culture that is ours, the plurality of our culture, both musically or character wise, or friendships or lovers. I mean, it was so interwoven. My mother would say, we would have Eid in the afternoon and then come home and light the candles for Diwali. That's how we all, our parents have grown up. But now it is a very challenged culture in that respect. So for me, that was vital to get that right.
Beautiful. Well, Shabana ji and Javed Saab still live like that. So, hurrah.
Yeah, I know, of course. Yeah.
Ishan, never a dull moment with Ram Kapoor in the house, man. So, you playing his son must have been so much fun. The conversation in between shots must have revolved around food and motorcycles and
No,
guffaws. Tell me about that.
Well,
and bruises.
oftentimes the conversations between shots were with medical professionals because
Bruce.
he's also a violent character.
Ek thara charak. They were so worried.
I actually, I don't know if you know this, Miradi. I was just earlier today. I was doing a few press junkets with him, and I reminded him of the time that after we shot a particular scene, I wouldn't want to spoil it for your audiences, but in episode 2, a certain altercation gone wrong between father and son. I sent him a message later that night. Sent him an image of my upper torso, and I said, "You animal." And he said, "I won't show this to my wife." So yeah, it was.
It was something.
He's a hoot, and a wonderful co-actor to work with. Very giving, very appreciative, and also very polished. He's a very polished actor. He's done television, films, series, and he's been working for years and years. So he knows his craft, but is equally enthusiastic when it comes to opportunities such as this. I saw how enthused he was to work with Miradi. He was picking up where he left off in their previous two collaborations. They've done Monsoon Wedding and a short film together, and so he
That
was
was his
more than
first
happy.
film, na? You know that Monsoon Wedding was his first
Yeah,
film,
yeah,
Ram
yeah.
Kapoor's.
Yeah, you have given so many their
So many,
firsts.
my God. Arjun Mathur has just been
Adding
nominated for
Tanya
an Emmy. I was
Maniktala to the
speaking to him
list.
a couple of
I
days
know.
ago. He said, first short film, Mira Nair. Everybody, all these people, Nana Patekar, of course, we know the Randeeps, this, that. Anyway, Tanya, I want to ask you this. You obviously enjoying all the attention on screen, the character does, but off screen, it's not easy to get that attention when you're being cast in the part for the first time, considering, like you said, you didn't have an acting background. So how did you get cast? Just curious about that story.
Oh, it is a very interesting story actually, because at the time I was working as a copywriter. So
In an
no plans
agency.
of acting. Yes, no plans of acting whatsoever. I had done a web series prior to getting a Suitable Boy, but it was never on the cards for me. I mean, I never thought of acting as a career or a profession full time.
Camera.
And I come from a very business family. So my father was always like, have to get a stable job, you have to go in for your higher studies. So I was actually planning on quitting
Water,
my
Baba.
job
Beta.
and moving to
Pani.
Melbourne for my higher studies. But a friend of mine who was in the theatre circuit with me when I was doing theatre in college, he called me up and told me that he had actually shown my pictures to the senior casting director, and they wanted me to come in and audition for something. And he did not name the project. He said it was confidential. He couldn't reveal
Wow.
the details, but it was just something big. So he wanted me to audition, and I went in after a very long day of work of copywriting. I met Dilip sir there, And he sees me and he's like, and I read with him. I just read with him because he also sees that I'm very tired. And the darling sweetheart that he is, he says, I see that you're tired. Do you want to like come in some other day and maybe read again? He's like, yes, please, because that is when I got to know that it was for a suitable boy and with Mira Nair, and I did not want to blow it up. I wanted to give it my best shot. So I go in some other day, I read with Dilip sir, I read a few more scenes, and he tells me that, okay, it might be a while before you hear back from them. So just, don't get your hopes too high. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. And it's been a while. I don't hear back from Sir. I don't hear back from anybody. And I've given up because I'm reading all these articles about who should be cast and who should be playing Lata Mehra. And I'm like, I don't fit there. So maybe I had a fun time. It was good. And just let's leave it at that. Have a happy memory and just take it with you. And then one day, I am planning on moving to Melbourne now. I've shortlisted my universities. I am all set to go. And I get a call from Sir saying that Mira wants to do a Skype call with you. Do you think that would be possible? And I am elated, like, oh my God, Mira Nair wants to talk to me. Is it actually happening? Am I in the shortlisting process still? And I talked to Miravi, and this is my first interaction with her. And my network is just absolutely horrible. I have so many missed calls from her on Skype, but my network just wouldn't connect. And I'm like, oh my god, this is my first impression. It can't go. I mean, everything that is supposed to go wrong is going wrong. And but anyway, she was lovely. She was so understanding, and I told her that sorry for the network issues, but I hope we can pick it up from here. And she just talked to me about the character, and she was just so comforting, and she was so passionate and so lively, and it was just lovely interacting with her. And then she tells me that if I come to Delhi, I would like to audition you in person. And she comes to Delhi, she auditions me in person, and that is how it just came about. And then I get a call from Mira
Yippee-ki-yay.
actually. Yeah, telling me that I am Malata. But I still don't believe her because at this point I've gone for so many rounds that I'm sort of thinking that she's trying to pacify me and try to like convince me to come to some other readings. But
Arey.
yeah, but yeah,
That is
that is
such
how
a
it
lovely story. Lovely. Okay, I've run out of time. My last question: there is a picture of Shashi Tharoor and you doing the rounds, Mira Nair, from your college days,
happened.
doing a play together, kind of like Twelfth Night in
Yeah,
A Suitable Boy. Uh,
It is.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
his side,
It is,
his
isn't
side of
it?
the picture,
It is
Shashi
12th
Tharoor's
night,
side
isn't
of
it?
the picture is a little hazy. So my last question to you is: was he actually that good looking in college, or has he just aged like wine?
No, no, he was always good looking, and he had that. We used to joke about Shashi's accent, that his mother was pregnant while she flew over London because he never went to England. But he had that accent. And the thing is, so we used to tease the pads off him, but he never got teased properly. He would just be Anthony, and yeah, we had fun. Shall we say? But I didn't really look forward to the kissing scenes, and I had to have them. I had a couple of them. Yeah, but maze kiye, and we are good friends, thankfully, throughout it. But
How lovely are you? How lovely are you, Mira Nair? Thank you. Thank you for your movies. Thank you for being you. Ishan, take care of yourself. Tanya, more power to you. See you guys soon. Cheers. Stay safe.
Thank
thank you
you.
so
Bye.
much to spread the good
Use
word.
up.
Okay, Mr.
Yes.
Cake. Bye.
Ishan.
It's gonna stick.